Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I am your host today, Craig DeLuce, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras, from the state better known as California. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike P. Waworski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most, here on The Rundown. 2A News and Conservative Views. Craig, do you know what today is?
Oh, yes. It is Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos.
It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yummity yum. It's like a dream.
Oh, yes, it is definitely like a dream. Today on this Taco Tuesday, we are having a phenomenal time.
Right.
How is your Taco Tuesday starting off for you thus far? We're actually not starting off. How's it ending?
You mean the eating part, the taco part?
There you go.
Part. Yeah.
There you go.
It's not a good taco day, Craig. I have a place I go to, right, and it's a gas station taco place, right? Like they had a truck, and then they moved inside to the kitchen when like the subway bailed out, and it's a really good little gem, and it's a Spanish named taco place.
Okay.
And it's like it's my go-to, when it's time to bring tacos home to people, right? Because unlike a truck, these ones have like good takeout containers and drinks and all that, everything, right?
Right.
So I get the message from the fam yesterday. Hey, can you bring home tacos? I'm like, yep. You know what? I'm near the place. I'll go get the tacos. I knew it wasn't going to go well, Craig, when I got in line, and there were people working behind the counter that were 100% Americans. Okay. And I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. It's not going to be good. And there's a Spanish dude in front of me going, un burrito, por favor. And she's like, what? Un burrito, por favor. What? Hey, Pete, this guy don't speak no English. And the guy comes over and he's like, Paquito. And he's like, ¿qué? And it's just this weird conversation of people pretending to speak Spanish and not understanding that he wanted one burrito. That's all he wanted.
Wow.
So I go up there and I ordered my tacos. And Craig, normally for 3 people here at the house, I'd order 6 tacos, right?
Okay.
Well, 6 is what would make it home. I'd actually order more for the drive. It's a 20-minute drive.
Hey, there you go.
You gotta have your driving taco, And I ordered them and I was like, listen, just meat, cilantro, and onion. That's all I want. Meat, cilantro, and onion. Okay, got it. And they come out and it's like cheese and lettuce and tomatoes. And I'm like, what? No. They're just go. You can keep those if you want. Nope, wouldn't even give them to the homeless. Go start again. And they come back again and they're still half wrong. And I'm like, you know what? Just put them in the boxes. And when I got home, they were like, oh, why is there more here? And I'm like, oh, they must have given us more for free. I don't know why. Because they were so bad, Craig. I didn't eat my drive-in tacos on the way home.
You didn't even eat your driving tacos.
Didn't even have my drive-in tacos. So what?
Yeah, they need to be reported. Someone in authority needs to handle these people.
Oh, I've already taken care of it on Google and all the reviews and everything.
There you go.
But so what's going to happen, Craig, is once we're off the air here about 6:00, taking my butt back out to go get some real tacos.
All right. Well, hopefully your Taco
so
Tuesday can be salvaged.
Yeah, it can be salvaged. It will be salvaged. Yeah,
we're rooting for you.
Yeah, go team, go.
Go team, go. Well, hey, let's give a shout out to our sponsors so that we can start getting down with the news.
Let's do it. Our good friends over at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net, hitmanindustries.net. These guys have got all your barrel needs for your AR rifle. If you already have a rifle, you might probably have one of their barrels already, but now you could buy barrels directly from them for your next build or replace the barrel in your current rifle. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, listen, It's crunch time, right? We're a week away from the election. You want to find out who to vote for out there in California. You want to help them influence and get the right Republicans on there. Make sure you reach out to them and take a look at what they have. And if you want some awesome combat gear, tactical gear, web gear, go to uscombatgear.com.
That's right. These are the folks who bring us to you. Once again, they do it so that we can bring you to them. So do us a favor, follow the link in the description to this program. All of their websites are linked there. You can go there. You can check them out. If you like what you see, spend some money with them, donate to them, become a member, whatever they ask you to do, do it. And then tell them that the guys over at the Rundown sent you. Yeah. Also, make it a point, if you haven't already done so, please make sure like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same. Let them know there's tons of different ways that they can partake of the program. We don't care, Harry, how you partake. We just care that you partake.
Yeah, do that too.
Do that stuff.
Do it.
All right, now, needless to say, after what occurred during the 2020 election, we know that now the left is basically going to do everything possible to remind the world that there were some people who were angry and were upset, and let their voices be heard there at the Capitol on January 6th. But even more importantly, that there were some people who engaged in some illegal activities there at the Capitol. And now, in order to push that narrative, the Department of Homeland Security, as well as the FBI, is now warning of violence. That's right. They're warning of it, particularly conspiracy-driven right-wing violence is what they are warning of leading up to the election. Now, Mike, they're completely ignoring the fact that there is violence in the streets, that murders are up, that burglaries are up, that rape is up in every major city across the country. In fact, in every Democrat-led state, crime is going through the roof. Much more violence is being driven by the Democrat unwillingness to actually enforce the law than has ever been seen in terms of political violence. But we're not talking about any of that. None of that matters to the FBI or the Department of Homeland Security or any of these other law enforcement agencies. They're going to send out these warnings because, Mike, they need to make sure that MAGA is kept in control.
Yeah, I heard they were going to be going after some a gay black actor in Chicago for voicing his opinion. That's what MAGA people do. MAGA country, right? Mm-hmm. We go around.
Right.
Remember the fake crime?
Well, that's what the African contingent of the MAGA movement is going to be
that's
doing.
It. Yeah, that's it. You're Madonna. Yeah, that's it. Do some Dave Chappelle there, but I realized
the bodybuilding African contingent of the MAGA movement.
Yeah, I guess I was going to say I was going to do some Dave Chappelle there, but there's not a single word he said in that act I think I could say. Just the word you. So, Craig, bring back up that title shot again. I want to point something out on this title shot. A bulletin issued by the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the National Counterterrorism Center. All right, folks, you see at the top there where it says law enforcement? Okay, law enforcement is none of those words down below. Those words below, it all indicate political appointees and administrators. Okay, they indicate politicians, right? The heads of those agencies are all politicians and political appointees. That is not law enforcement and law enforcement in general. That is the administration and their appointees trying to influence you and scare you to not go to the polls, right? Are you getting this? We talked about this last week. If it was real law enforcement, your local police and sheriff's departments would be coming out and letting you know what to do. This is another scare tactic by the Democrats in an attempt to keep you away from the polls so they can avoid the massive red wave about to hit them.
Well, but it's also an attempt for them to try and get out Democrat voters. They're trying to scare Democrat voters in particular because they're like, they believe that they'll get Democrat voters actually to turn out at the polls by saying, look, the Republicans are trying to steal the election. This is their conspiracy theory. I hate to say this, but it is amazing to me to watch the left do this. And then the media is complicit in it. And then when you actually go and you look at the facts, I'm sorry, but most of the political violence that is out there that's existed is coming from the left. So how do you dare point to specifically to conservatives when, I mean, dude, I will go back to the Trump 2016 election where you had people who were running down and assaulting children who were wearing red MAGA hats, right? They were smacking little kids and taking their MAGA hats, and media wasn't saying anything about it, right? You had them running down at the California Republican Party convention in San Jose, California. This was the one they couldn't avoid because there were TV cameras everywhere, and you were watching people. People run down Trump supporters and assault them, and yet Republicans are the ones pushing political violence. I'm sorry, no, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, listen, Craig, we talked briefly, about this, and we also talked about it's as if they're trying to provoke, the right into taking some sort of violence action against them. Because again, remember, we're talking about every policy that the Democrats come out, every theory, every piece of political agenda they come out with is a massive failure. Mm-hmm. That would be as well. First off, it's not going to happen. We're not going to do it. You might get your crazy whack job here and there that does things, but that's on the left and the right. That doesn't apply to mainstream politicians or mainstream politics. But if it were to happen, Craig, and it's not going to, if it were to happen, you know what? The reason it's not going to happen is the reason we're sitting here peacefully today, because we know who would win. Right. But we don't want to go to violence. All right. Listen, when you have the party that has the guns and the party that doesn't have the guns, who's going to win? It's kind of like the old, listen, you've got tanks and we've got rocks. Who's going to win that fight? Right.
Right.
It's pretty simple. And the only way to point to that we would be victorious, Craig, is listen, we took a crowd of protesters and overtook the nation's capital. Right. And that was unarmed. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. If
right.
we wanted to listen, if the right wanted to really take the Capitol, and it wasn't just a group of protesters, we'd still be there. Okay, they just listen. They abandoned that ship in 10 minutes when we said, "Hey, who's inside here?" It was that.
You know what? You've got a point there. What I find interesting is now you notice they take everything and they twist it. So now all of a sudden the guy, for example, who was involved in the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, now all of a sudden right. He's a right-wing QAnon supporter. Now, mind you, they ignore all the left-wing nudist environmentalist stuff that was on his computer. How about this? How about the fact that the dude was just a whack job? How about the fact that he was just nuts, crazy? And by the way, probably should have been locked up somewhere. Who knows? I'm sure he's probably been caught involved in some sort of a felony or something like that. But Democrats let him go. Okay, I'm completely out there. That may be a conspiracy theory, but it's believable when you consider their policies.
Oh, I don't have to believe that's a conspiracy theory. That's San Francisco. I'm sure he's committing felonies left and right, and they're either turning their back on him or they're letting him out with no bond every day.
Or at the very least, he's pooped out in front of their house before.
Oh well, I mean, listen, he's got to have street cred.
He's got street cred. That's kind of a given.
Yeah.
But yeah, folks. So just so y'all know, those of you on the right out there, if you're planning any election-related violence. The government is on to you, so don't do it.
Yeah, I'm going to tear that pen right into my ballot. It's going to be also violent.
There you go. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh, no.
All right, moving right along. By the way, this is not the only conspiracy that is being voiced out there. You have the current governor and candidate for re-election for governor, Ms. Hochul, who is now basically saying that there's a conspiracy out there. And she is trying to convince the world that the violence in New York is a conspiracy by the right in order to make people feel uncomfortable. Now, here's the thing. You might get away with making a statement like this just kind of in general. But the fact is that this is an issue that is happening all across the country. We are seeing acts of violence. I mean, the data coming from the Democrat-run FBI, the Democrat-run Department of Homeland Security. I mean, all of the numbers, all of the Democrat-run police law enforcement agencies. All of that data, all coming from agencies run by Democrats, are the ones that are telling you that violence is going through the roof. Violent crime is going through the roof. Murder, burglary, rape are all up. And yet somehow it's the Republicans' fault.
Yeah, Craig, this is what it looks like when you realize you're not going to win the election and there's still a week left to go. This is what you get. This is a woman who was on top, 3 weeks ago with an over 10-point margin lead, and then Big Daddy Trump comes up to New York and goes, "I support her. I support Leo Zeldin here, Led Zeppelin. Let's throw her out." And the state 10 points in a week goes, and now it's gone the other way. Craig, it's continuing to go. He's got a 3-point lead as when I looked at it a couple hours ago. She's now in the desperate Democrat dying, dirty cockroach phase. She's on her back with her feet up, grasping at straws. Oh, Republicans are data deniers. Oh, they're master manipulators. Oh, the crime in New York, that's just a Republican plot against me. I don't think, listen, Republicans in New York are almost like American Indians in New York. You never see two of them together. Okay, that's how spread apart Republicans are in New York City. All right, they're not there. Not in Manhattan anyway. You've got this woman continuing to again just last ditch efforts. Even the New York City mayor, former NYPD captain Eric Adams, has turned his back on her. Remember, he's a Democrat that ran for office under Law and Order. He's been in office for 10 months now and knows he can't save his city under her and her policies. He has turned his back on her over the past couple of weeks, month or so.
Well, and ultimately that's it, is that it is a denial of reality. And that's where Democrats are. I mean, one only need look at the issues that Democrats believe are important. For example, Democrats are focusing on abortion. They're focusing on January 6th. And the average voter is like, no. Crime. We're dealing with crime. We're dealing with the fact that we have an open southern border. And how about inflation? How about the cost of going to the grocery store? These are the realities that everyday Americans are living with. And the Democratic Party is demonstrating that they have no idea what is going on. And it's funny because I get my Democrat friends who are still open to the idea of debate and discourse. They literally, all they can send me as evidence that they're right, they'll send me tweets from Democrat operatives, from guys like Frank Reich, or from one of these other media sources. And I'm like, I'm sending you data and information from the agencies that are even being run by these people, that it's telling you that, that this is what's going on. And they're literally, Mike, living in an alternate reality, and they cannot understand why the people who are living here on Earth are not falling in line with their thinking.
Remember last week, Craig, when I told you that I believe that Stacey Abrams has a little earpiece in her ear, that it's the guys from Impractical Jokers, but really the Democrat National Party just throwing the stupidest things in the world at her, to have her say it just to see if it sticks. I think they got one in Kathy Hochul's ear now. I think that's what this is. They're getting so desperate. They're like, try that the crime is all put on by Republicans and it's fake. The crime is by Republicans. It's all fake. What are you talking about? What do you go home? Just go home already.
Look,
give it up.
Once again, just violent. All you have to do is go ask a random group of people here in California if their catalytic converter has been stolen. I guarantee you're going to get at least 1 out of 10 people are going to say, yeah, my catalytic converter was stolen. Ask them about their car getting broken into. Ask them about violence on the street, about being approached by I don't want to necessarily say a violent homeless person, but someone who is definitely exhibiting concerning behavior and made you feel unsafe. All right. It is what used to not be a thing or used to be a rare thing has become commonplace in places like California, in places like New York, and in places like Chicago. And people are looking around and they're like, okay, I want to blame Trump. Okay, wait, he hasn't been in office for 2 years. I want to blame the Republicans. Oh, wait, they're in a super minority, and none of them are on my city council. They're in a super minority in the state legislature, and they hold no statewide offices. All of a sudden, they're starting to realize, maybe the Republicans aren't the problem.
Right, and we're seeing that everywhere. Listen, I would caution you to go. Everybody in California, avoid going up to and talking to 10 people. Maybe you do it like with a tweet text or something like that. You could do your poll that way because you don't want to be walking up to people. In fact, Craig, if you go up to a group of 10 people in California and ask them if their catalytic converter has been stolen, yes, one will say it's been stolen, but then 3 will tell you they don't drive a Cadillac.
You know what? I would take that as an insult to the intelligence of Californians, except I look at the people who we elect to office and I really don't have much of an argument.
Yeah. I'm telling you, listen, if you ask people in California, have they had their catalytic converter stolen, they're going to tell you, I don't drive a Cadillac. That's what they're going to tell you.
Okay, moving right along.
It's a gas guzzler. I don't drive a Cadillac. Oh, okay, good. Thanks for the info, honey. Yeah.
So I got into an argument the other day about gas prices, right? Shell Oil recently released a thing saying that basically their profits were like $9 million and they were doing a stock buyback. But Mike, here's what was funny about it was and you started to see this because tweets were going out from a bunch of different people talking about the massive profits of oil companies. Now, you and I know that the reason why they have massive profits is because, oh, by the way, first of all, 2021, that very same company had like $21 billion in losses. So to then the following year have $9 million in gains, it's not, they didn't even make back half of what they lost the year before. But I digress. The point is profits and losses go up and down. But in this particular case, they don't make a lot of money off of a single barrel. They make money off of volume, right? So the margin is actually relatively thin on fuel, which is why sometimes some years they make money, some years they don't. And, when you make money, you got to try and, maximize the benefit of that money that you can. Now, having said that, Biden is coming out and is threatening because oil companies have taxes. And once again, they can't blame the government, who, by the way, is the largest profiteer on gas. Because whether gas goes up in price or down in price, the government makes money. Whether the oil companies make a profit or not, the government makes money off of their taxes. In California, over 51 or 52 cents of every dollar you pay. Not every dollar of every gallon you pay, about 52 cents of it is taxes in places like the state of California. And I don't even believe that includes. Anyway, I don't even believe that includes sales tax. But now Biden is threatening higher taxes on oil companies if they do not lower gas prices. Now, Michael, I know you were not a business major. But what happens when you increase taxes on the provider of a product, good, or a service? What do they then do in order to address that increased tax or increased cost?
It's like when you see that Walmart commercial where they're rolling prices back. Guess what? We're rolling prices onto the consumer, folks. Here we go. Rolling costs onto the consumer. Brought to you by Brandon. Here we go. Rolling them to you.
That's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to wind up increasing the cost of a barrel of oil or increasing the cost of gas, and they're going to pass it right along to us. What's funny is I think something like 0.3% of all gas stations are actually owned by major oil companies. Most of them are independently owned and independently operated. I just think once again, it is a demonstration that these folks really don't know how the economy works. And I'll be the first to say this, and I've said this a million times. Politicians do not control the economy. We, the consumers, control the economy. But we often react to government policy. So government policy can affect it. It doesn't necessarily control it. So when you implement poor public policy, well, then the consumers react a certain way. By the way, as do the suppliers as well. So yeah, get out of the free market and let the free market do its thing, Mr. Biden.
Craig, do you know the gas station Buc-ee's? You heard of Buc-ee's?
We do not have a Buc-ee's here.
All right. Well, Buc-ee's is this for those that don't have Buc-ee's. They're these they're like these dream gas stations. Probably like 100 pumps at a minimum, and it's as big as a Walmart inside, and it's got everything in it. It's like a Cracker Barrel made got in a Walmart, got together with a movie theater and a dry cleaner. It's just everything inside. It's ridiculous. And I'm trying to remember the state as we sit here, but Buc-ee's has figured it out. Listen, they sell gas, and it's usually 3 or 4 cents cheaper than you find anywhere else. Well, I don't want to say the wrong state. I'll give it to you tomorrow. But a state tried to pass a law against them because they found out Buc-ee's was selling gas for below the cost of the gas. So they were cutting themselves out, 2 to 3 cents a gallon. Well, you know why? Because the gas is not where the gas stations make the profit. It's everything inside. And Buc-ee's has got the best available stuff inside. So everybody's coming there to go inside and go shopping and get gas while they're there. This is a Buc-ee's. So the state tried to say, no, you're not allowed to make profit like that on gas. And he goes, we're not making profit on gas. We're making profit on stuff inside. And I don't think the law passed. But that's how politicians think. The point is, they came along and said, no, you must also charge this amount for gas as everybody else does. And Buc-ee said, hey, I got something for you right here. Hey, take this. Take this with you. And told the government what to do with their gas taxes,
right,
with their gas prices. I will say this also. I live in a county where the gas is 20 cents more a gallon than the county next to me. Do you know why that's different?
Because Democrats run your county.
Yes, they do. But we have 5 cents more in gas taxes than they do. So it's a 20-cent difference, Craig. But our taxes are only 5-cent difference because evidently when you add 5 cents to a gallon of gas, it still costs another 15 cents more for the government to process that 5 cents. So every 5 cents the gas goes up, really costs us 20 cents here.
Well, one of the reasons why they try not to allow companies to sell stuff below their cost even is because back in the day you would have some companies that would do that with the goal of putting other companies out of business.
Wait a second.
Once again,
that's called being a successful business person, right?
Yes.
I drove my competition into the dirt. I win.
Right. And then eventually what those companies would do once their competition was out of business, they would then bring the gas prices up above where they normally would have been. I'm not arguing in favor of that. I'm just explaining it. That's all. I'm not saying
theory.
But my issue
theory.
Well, no, that wasn't theory. That was actually happening. But my issue is that when the government gets involved to try and keep that from happening, to try and manipulate the market, they inevitably make things worse. I believe that I believe in government regulation to the degree that you don't let bad actors harm society or harm people. But when you start getting into the idea of manipulating markets, that's where regulation goes bad almost every single time.
Yeah, I don't know how it is in your state, but we definitely have laws in this state about gouging with prices. You cannot go so far above, the price points. It has to be there. And if you decide to take a loss because you can make a profit here, I just don't get that. I don't get that. Stay out of
price gouging. Well, now in most states where there are those laws, they mostly affect in the event of an emergency.
Correct.
There are very few that cause that if it's, for example, if you become an oligopoly or a monopoly. But I do know that government actors will look to try and address that if you are seen as price gouging. And what's funny is here in California, they're trying to implement stuff like that and trying to say, oh, well, they're gouging prices. And the fact is no, they're not. In particular, when you here in California have made it so we have to have a special blend of gas that no one else in the country wants or uses, that increases the cost. And oh, by the way, we have to use refineries that are over 50 years old because you won't let us build any new refineries here in the state of California. So those, by the way, those refineries tend to go down a lot when they're over 50 years old. They tend to break down a lot. You know, being over 50, I know how it is trying to function every single day. Sometimes you break down.
Right here, yeah. Craig, listen, I think you nailed it on the head when you said government actors, because this is the government trying to act like they know better than we do.
Right. I mean, these are people who were not successful in business trying to tell people in business how to do things. Yeah, no,
Yep.
Stop. Just stop. You're not good at this. Stop.
That's it. Craig, I'd like to petition the court here, if I could, to take the next topic and push it till tomorrow, because we're running. I don't want to run way over on time and keep.
Oh
people
wow,
from,
we are way over on time. So yes, I would agree. Unfortunately, the 5th grade anti-2A writing assignment is going to have to wait until tomorrow because we need to get into our parting shots.
We do. Here they
All
come.
right.
Get ready, folks.
All right, so
Hold the
this
seats.
first one kind of is in line with a couple of our stories today when we're talking about New York City.
New York City.
All right, so this is year to date in Democrat-run New York City, and plug in the major metropolitan city, and you can say this exact same thing. Grand larceny up 43%, robbery up 37%, burglary up 32%, felony assault up 16%, rape up 10%. This is the violent chaos Democrats will export to your hometown if you let them. Don't let them. And once again, whatever major metropolitan city you live in, these are the numbers. These are numbers that you're seeing. I know that there are numbers that you're seeing. And these are areas that, once again, are all run by Democrats. And in many cases, even the state that they're in is run by Democrats. So you can't blame Republicans. So stop it. Right?
There you go. Yeah, very
Well,
true.
Blame who is exactly to blame. And for example, in the event of what occurred in San Francisco to Paul Pelosi, here we have California, or former California senator, former attorney general, now Vice President of the United States, in all of her wisdom, denoting that some guy did a thing. Maybe we should ban hammers.
Yeah, that's about all she knows. And she just
Now, mind you, I will say this. Those cadence sound a little bit more like the president than her. Normally, she at least attempts to sound a little more arrogant, a little more condescending, a little more holier than thou, as well as more authoritarian. In her,
those are all
ignorance
words
and
I would use
stupidity.
to describe her. Yeah, those
Yeah.
are all words. Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's my only issue with that quote is it sounds a little bit more like the president. Now, this next one, if there was ever a reason to stop and consider how you're going to vote, it's this one, and it's a two-parter. Okay, this has got Matthew McConaughey. You can see he's probably in his Lincoln because you know that's who puts money in his pocket, driving down the street with a big smile on his face. And it says, on the way to get $1.98 gas, 2019, listening to the radio. Listen to the radio guy make fun of Trump's latest tweet. Fast forward to today.
Part two.
Part 2. On the way to get gas after selling off my TV so that I can get to work. Listening to the guy on the radio explain why inflation is a good thing. Now, this is clearly what I believe is heroin or crackhead Matthew McConaughey. I believe from the movie Dallas something.
It's actually AIDS emaciated Dallas Buyers Club Matthew McConaughey.
There you go. Dallas Buyers Club. Yes. And he's not looking good. But this is pretty much how we are in the state in which we are in these days in the good old state of the United States under the Biden administration and Democrat control of both houses of Congress. I'm serious, man. If it weren't for the Supreme Court, these last 2 years would have been hell. And by the way, I believe there's some guy, orange skin, funky looking hair, mean tweets, that was responsible for doing all that.
Yes. I don't know who that could be. Mayor
But
McCheese.
I digress. It's about that time for us to say hello to our sponsors.
Let's say good day to our sponsors. Thank you for being with us. Hitman Industries for all your barrel needs for your ARs, rifle and pistol calibers available. Hitmanindustries.net. The California Republican Assembly, make sure you reach out to them. It's a tough week. Find out who your picks in California are. And of course, if you want some awesome combat gear, some tactical gear, go to uscombatgear.com.
Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you, by the way, also visiting our sponsors and letting them know that the guys over at the Rundown sent you. We're going to call it a day, but we will be back tomorrow. And it's not a threat. It's a promise. Okay, yeah, it's a threat. But we're going to be back tomorrow for Hump Day, and we're going to be talking about more news, more 2A news, and more conservative views. You folks take care, and I hope you enjoy what you got left of the day. Hasta mañana.